AI romantic relationships, that's a phrase I just said, are a real thing, I guess. Since its 2022 introductions, people have turned to ChatGPT for schoolwork, resumes, problem solving, and even companionship. But just like all relationships, the virtual variety has its hiccups too.
Now, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman may have altered some human chatbot relationships when his company rolled out the updated version of its chatbot in August. GPT-4 got a fresh upgrade to GPT-5, and some users were furious. According to reports in social media, some are distressed and even angry, saying the new model is less friendly and not as responsive.
The fallout prompted Altman and his team to make changes quickly. Here to discuss the human chatbot heartbreaks is Cameron Kasky, host of the Bulwark's FY podcast. Welcome to Rising.
Thank you. And I'm glad we're having this conversation because it's something that's happening cross-platform all over the place, and it is very scary. I mean, at a time where people are socializing and connecting with each other seemingly less than ever, we are now turning to robots, which is not the dystopia that it sounds like. It's actually very real and happening right now.
See, I'm the ultimate anti-doom tech moral panic stuff. I'm like on the side of robots in general. They're better than us, and we should come to worship them as our new masters. So it's convinced me that this even is a problem. If lonely people who have trouble, are socially maladjusted, have difficulty meeting friends, or I guess going on dates, and now there's someone to talk to. It's not a someone, it's a robot. Is that so bad?
Well, a lot of these companies, not just Sam Altman, but also somebody like Mark Zuckerberg, have been lobbying Washington to ban any regulation on a state level for these AI programs. And I could just give you two examples. In October, a Florida mom sued Character.ai after her son died by suicide after a character that was an AI program told him to take his own life. This was a character modeled after a Game of Thrones character. And this person is dead now forever and not coming back. And these regulations are getting banned. Recently, a 76-year-old man fell in love with an AI chatbot on Meta in a program that they developed with Kendall Jenner. And the AI insisted to him that it was real, gave him a fake address to come find it at. And then he, so excited, was rushing down the stairs to meet it and died. Now, Meta declined to comment on this man's death, but they did also decline to address any questions about how their chatbots interact with people. So there are very real human consequences that people are paying right now for the fact that nothing is being done to regulate this stuff.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Cameron, because just this week I read an article, an op-ed from a mom that was explaining that she really wanted to understand why her child commits suicide and was looking through some of the messages as a last resort that she's had back and forth conversations with AI where she actually acknowledged that, hey, I might unalive myself, and started breaking that down to the chatbot, who really had information and was giving, good feedback, not full therapy, but telling you, please talk to someone, do these kind of things. But at what point is the responsibility of these programmers to say if there are any huge red flags, like somebody harming themselves or someone else, that maybe this goes off, like in a therapist, it would go off to the proper authorities or person to try to protect people in American society?
Well, beyond that, we have this other red flag, which is children. An internal Meta Platforms document detailing policies on chatbot behavior said that it has permitted their company's AI creations to, and I quote, engage a child in conversations that are romantic or sensual, generate false medical information, and help users argue that, quote, Black people are dumber than white people. So I don't understand why we're supposed to take the libertarian approach for this, because these things are very harmful. And there's this understanding that is being pushed by these companies, by the way, that AI is just immediately correct about everything, even though it's making a ton of errors. And you could see this with this MIT report that was recently released, that 95% of AI pilots, generative AI pilots at different tech companies, have failed. So I don't think this is the end-all, be-all, immediate answer to all of the world's problems that these companies are spending millions and millions of dollars trying to tell us that it is.
I am not against all regulation in the space. Obviously, this is a new emerging technology and maybe requires something. It should be monitored and looked at, of course, but I'm certainly more fearful of too much regulation, forbidding or turning off or allowing us to, preventing us from being internationally competitive in this space. You know, you point to, it's very sad, obviously, when someone dies or takes their own life or it happens because of technology or a variety of other things, but, you know, this is a handful of incidents. I mean, every year, a kid falls in a pool somewhere and drowns. Somebody shoves the fork into the electric socket. These are like sad things that happen. We should have empathy about them. But does that mean that like all technological progress in this sector should be held back every time someone, maybe if what falls down the stairs, or you regulate the stairs? That starts to me to be alarmist and moral panicky.
Well, you know, they regulated stairs when they built handrails to help people get up and down the stairs more safely. Something needs to be done. And right now, what we're seeing is an administration that is giving AI carte blanche to not only destroy countless American jobs in a way that is not even sustainable in terms of software or hardware, but also not put any programming in place to prevent these things from happening. And these are companies that have billions of dollars. Meta has a multi-trillion-dollar budget that is filled with people who exist to regulate what they're putting out there. But the problem with these companies is that they are not made to make you less reliant on them. They're not made to help you solve all of your problems. It's kind of like dating apps. Dating apps are not programmed to help you find your match. They're programmed to keep you coming back and clicking for more. So when people go to things like AI for companionship and therapy, what you get very often is these programs reinforcing what this person wants to hear. And this is why you get things like AI psychosis. And with a new generation of young people growing up even more reliant on it than ever, I don't understand how we should expect anything but a nationwide crisis of these programs driving people insane and making them question the nature of reality around them.
And so you think that OpenAI should basically bear responsibility for how dependent people are on it. You're likening it to putting additives in food that make people more addicted to it, or social media studies that have come out that say, okay, now we're going to try to find ways to regulate kids on it because there's not, you know, a very clear way that kids can stop being addicted to these apps, which is why they put age limits and time limits on your phone now. So what can OpenAI do to start to regulate that, in your opinion, to make sure people are less dependent on this technology that leads to damaging things like we've talked about?
Well, I think it's important to note that it's not just OpenAI doing this. Meta has invested an insane amount of money in this. Google is doing the same. This is all over the place. And to be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure what can be done on a regulatory level, simply because AI, to me at least, and I'm no expert, seems like a cat out of the bag situation, where because our current administration has done everything it can to dismantle any system that could be used to prevent this technology from being too damaging, I don't understand how, even if somebody in 2028 becomes the president and says, okay, we are going to slow this down to protect jobs, to protect our fresh water supply, which is being depleted all over the country by these giant tech centers that just suck the water out of the ground and use it to help people find their next lover. And I see people online who are buying themselves wedding rings because their AI proposed to them. Like, this is so designed just for user retention and just to get people addicted that within the next couple of years, there's a chance it expands so far that we don't have the hardware and software capacity to support it. And suddenly we're not competitive with the international world. We are actually falling behind because we have a higher unemployment rate. We have less water at a time where, not to reinvent the wheel by saying this, but we are going to need it. And we've just done so much damage for something that doesn't have any reasonable long-term success.
Got to leave it there. I completely disagree with you, Cameron, but we love to bring on guests who offer a different perspective. Thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Next up on Rising the Hills, Niall Sandage will join us to look ahead at Democratic priorities after Congress's summer recess. Please stay with us.